So your team has committed to what they're going to deliver. They've got their sprint backlog. They've broken those user stories down into more tasks, more detailed tasks. They know who's working on what, who's working together, how they're approaching it as a team. And then every day, they have what's called a daily stand-up. Now, this used to be where literally the name daily stand-up came from development world, where people were so busy sitting down coding that they needed to stand for 15 minutes. So that's where the daily stand-up came from. But it is a very, very simple call. It is, or discussion. It's what did you do yesterday? Basically, because this happens daily. So what did you do yesterday? What are you planning to do today? And is there anything in your way of achieving your goals for today? Now, as a Scrum Master, I could ask these questions, and I have asked these questions, but if you're lucky enough to have all of your Scrum team in one room, sometimes they just organically, somebody stands up and say, let's do our stand-up, and they will run it themselves, and that's fine too. People love this aspect. It keeps them focused for the day, and it is the opportunity for the Scrum Master to say, to do their work, which is removing any obstacles. And it's an opportunity, as it shows, to inspect and adapt. Then we have the sprint review meeting. So this is very informal. This is where we are demoing our increment and our product. So this is where we have taken the work, we have done the work as we've expected. We believe we are at done, as according to the definition of done. The clients could be involved in this. So this is where you can also involve the external stakeholders, the internal stakeholders. The Scrum team is part of this. The product owner is part of this. Sometimes it's just the product owner you're presenting to. But this is where we are looking for feedback. We're fostering that ongoing collaboration, because every sprint, once we've gone through a cycle, we're going to go into another cycle of a sprint. That is the intent here. So it's very informal. This is not a PowerPoint presentation. This is typically a demo, a real demo of what you've built and what you're going to release. 4 hours maximum is what's recommended here. And the final sprint event is the sprint retrospective meeting. And so this is the very last activity in the sprint. So we are going to reflect on what we did, and we're going to talk about improvements for the future. And those improvements can actually go into the product backlog as improvement opportunities. So it might not be feature-driven development. It's more an improvement of the Scrum process and how you're going to go about self-organizing as a team going forward. Great feedback. You hear a lot in these retrospectives. It's all recorded online, and people can access it at any time. And here is also an opportunity to give some thought into reviewing how well definition of done was defined. Was it poorly defined, so it impeded our ability to deliver, or was it well defined? And let's take a peek at what's next. Let's just get our headspace ready, because as soon as we finish this retrospective meeting, the next day, we're going to go back into our next planning session, and it continues again. So very, very interesting, very simple. Four key events. Our planning session, okay, our daily stand-up, our sprint review, and our retrospective. And the sprint itself is recommended 1 month only. So here you see these time boxes. And this would be your maximum hours that are shown here, but you can go shorter. And I've actually worked in sessions where we did 2-week sprints, not 1 month sprints, and we combined the review and retrospective together. So all of this is valid. What's really, really important is that when you adopt Scrum, that you follow each of these events, that you hold each of these events, because each of them builds on your ability to deliver an Agile perspective.